People of Earth, we come in peace.
Welcome to this neighborhood, neighbor.
I am the Martian ambassador.
Des Moines and all of central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon. 7 minutes after 3 o'clock on this 19th day of January in the Lord's year 2016. A lot of stuff going on.
Yes.
A lot of stuff going on. So let me just kind of update you on some things. I just hate this. Ben Carson is in Omaha at the hospital where a couple of his staffers from Iowa have been taken in emergency air transport because they were in a van by Atlantic, Iowa, and it rolled, skidded on its top, and there's people hurt. We don't know the severity that it's hurt. So if you were going to go to a Ben Carson event today, they have postponed those. All right, I did that okay?
Yes.
Because I can't read the press release. The press release uses a word that I don't think they use the word suspend. And that's a terrible, terrible word to use. He's not suspending his presidential campaign. He's just not going to the events today because he's going to the hospital to visit these staffers.
Oh, I see. Right. That they're just a poor choice of words then.
Yeah.
Because he's not officially suspending his campaign.
My heavens, no. But that's the terminology that came out. And that's just, if I were to say that on the air, all the low information voters and all the left-wing media, the headline would be Carson suspends campaign. And somewhere down about the 19th paragraph, it'd say 3 staffers were involved in a rollover accident by Atlantic, Iowa, and Ben Carson went to the hospital to visit them.
Right. He's just not going to a couple of events.
Yeah, so if you had an event to go see Ben today, he's not going to be there. And everything's fine with Ben and his wife and his family, his son, who's on the radio with us. Ben's been on the radio with us. But if you're going to see a Ben Carson event today, it's been canceled or postponed. All right. That's the first thing. The second thing is we have a audio to play for you of Marco Rubio answering a question by an atheist. And we're going to play that in a minute. Also, in a bold move, Iowa Governor Terry Branstad says he won't endorse a Republican candidate before the February 1st caucuses. Makes sense. He's going to endorse the person who wins Iowa. But he said today he wants Senator Ted Cruz defeated. Now, that's a bold move for a governor, especially Governor Branstad, who's really just kind of takes it easy most of the time. You know, wow. I mean, that is so un-PC. I'm so proud of Branstad. You know, because basically he's saying anybody but Cruz. And we'll talk about why. Also, here's a lovely question. So something terrible happens to you, and you pass away.
Okay.
Now, do you have all of your passwords and access codes and everything written down for all your accounts?
Wow, no, I don't.
Okay, well, neither did Peggy Bush's husband, and so now she is suing Apple to get access to his accounts.
Is a lawsuit necessary? It seems like that would be extreme.
Well,
seems like there should be a different way to recover that without a lawsuit. But
Apple said I couldn't even get the silly little password. It just seemed nonsense. Peggy Bush told CBS, 72 years old.
Wow.
It never crossed my mind. So maybe this is the deal. Now, my wife knows all my passwords.
Sure.
In fact, I can tell you might. Well, no, I probably on
No,
the
you
air.
don't do that.
But I don't have any communication with anybody that my wife or my family or anybody probably, well, I don't know. I suppose somewhere in there's some business stuff I wouldn't want anybody else to see but my family or myself. So I never thought about that. But I think this is a good thing to think about. She even got a copy of the death certificate and still got a no from Apple. Still, Apple said you're going to have to go to court to get this back. You need a court order. You need to go to court to do that.
Wow.
That's what Apple told her.
That's one of those things, no one ever reads the terms and conditions, right? The thing that we sign up for. It's probably in there, Well,
listen to this. So CBS contacts Apple. The company called the daughter, Donna Bush is her name, said there was a misunderstanding and offered to help without a court order. Anyway. All right. So 4, 5, 6. Let's go and play that piece of audio. Are you playing that off of your? Okay.
Yeah, I sure am.
This is 4 minutes long. Sit back and listen to this. I think you'll find it very interesting.
Yeah, just a quick setup. This was at a Marco Rubio event. This is an atheist standing up and asking Marco Rubio a question. The rest of it will make sense.
Atheist voter. I represent millions of atheists and non-theists around the country, one of the fastest growing voter blocs. And you said earlier that you want to stand up for religious freedom and all of that. My question is for atheist voters that are looking for somebody that will uphold their rights as Americans and not pander to a certain religious group. I just noticed your recent ad. It mentioned nothing about policy. It mentioned nothing about ideas, and it simply talked about wanting us to follow faith and find God and go to heaven and things like that, which is fine for those people that align with you. My question is, how do you plan on upholding our rights and focusing on non-theists? And because there's talks in our community about you running as pastor-in-chief instead of commander-in-chief. So I'm curious your thoughts.
Well, first of all, as I said during my speech, you have a right to believe whatever you want. You have a right to believe in nothing at all. You most certainly have that right. By the way, I'm a Christian. I can't force you to be a Christian. Christianity is a free gift. Mm-hmm. We Christians believe that salvation is a free gift that has to be willfully accepted. I can't force it on you. So you have a right to believe whatever you want, and I congratulate you on believing whatever you want. Right. I'm going to share my faith, especially when I'm asked, because my faith influences who I am in every aspect of my life. First of all, I believe you can't really understand America unless you don't understand. If you don't believe that Judeo-Christian values influenced America, you don't know history. I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general. This nation was founded on the principle that our rights come from our Creator. If there's no Creator, then where did your rights come from? And so that's why it's important for us to understand that. And we're going to protect the rights of Americans to continue to believe that. We're also going to have a country where no one is forced to violate their conscience, which means no one's going to force you to believe in God, but no one's going to force me to stop talking about God. I'm not going to force you to pray. I'm not going to force you to go to church. I'm not going to force you to aspire or to espouse beliefs that you don't have. But no one's going to take away my right and your right to live out the teachings of your faith. No one. And I want to be very clear about something. And not only am I a Christian, and not only am I influenced by my faith, but it is the single greatest influence in my life. And from that, I'll never hide. And I'll tell you why. Because I know that if I'm lucky, I get to live to be 85 or 90, depending on what life expectancy becomes with all this new medicine. But I'm more interested in eternity and the ability to live forever with my Creator that you don't believe in, but I do. And that's what I aspire to more than anything else. That's why I believe the most important job I have is the job of a father and a husband. More important even than the presidency. Because I only have a handful of years to teach and instruct my children with the right values, not just to allow them to succeed in life, but more importantly, to also achieve, to be able to accept the gift of eternity. I believe that God, our Creator, became a man. And he came down to earth and lived among us. Suffered like a man would. Emotions, physical suffering, emotional suffering, pain, illness, sickness, sadness. And then he died. And he died to remove sins that we couldn't remove up to that point. They could only be covered, but they couldn't be removed. And as a result, I now have the free gift of the opportunity to live forever with my Creator. And I believe that passionately, and it influences every aspect of my life. And I respect very much your willingness to stand up and ask that question, because I know you're in a small minority here of people that share that view that you have, but you have a right to it. That's why it makes it such a great country. I would say this, though. You shouldn't be worried about my faith influencing me. In fact, I think you should hope my faith influences me. Here's why. You know what my faith teaches me? My faith teaches me that I have an obligation to care for the less fortunate. My faith teaches me that I have an obligation to love my neighbor. My faith teaches me that I have an obligation for those who are hungry to help try to feed them, for those who are naked to help clothe them. My faith teaches me I need to minister to those in prison. My faith teaches me that if I want to serve Jesus, I have to serve each other. And I think you should hope that that influences me. I know it's made this a greater country.
Yeah, that was a great clip, I thought. It got cut short there a little bit. And, that's another one of those clips. By the way, you're listening to the Truth Network, 99.3 FM Mac, Mac's World Live Mac. That was a good clip, don't you think?
That was awesome, and it's totally unprepared. He didn't have a script that just came off his heart. That sounded like the one he did for the pastors at the restaurant that's on
right. It reminded me of that, and it's not pandering. That wasn't, it wasn't even posted by the Marco Rubio campaign. The reason why Marco's audio was really bad, because I think that was actually posted by the atheist group that asked the question. But two things that I want to point out, if I could, about that video that I thought were interesting, Mac.
And let's do that when you come back.
Okay, I will.
Chris has been working on this all day. Eighth reporter out in the field, Chris Roloff. We'll go back
Beating
live.
The streets.
We'll go back live to him with a live shot with webcast1live.com. And all the folks back at the TV station will appreciate it. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't either.
All right, later on, the Congressman Steve King in the studio, not on the phone, in the studio with us to talk about, well, why was there an empty chair during the State of the Union address? And where are we at with his choice as a presidential nominee? Coming up live next.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, Everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
21 minutes after the hour, 19th day of January, Governor Terry Branstad said he wants anybody but Ted Cruz. Actually, his line was, Branstad, he wants Texas Senator Ted Cruz defeated. Yes, Branstad told a local TV station when asked if he wants Cruz, who is currently leading the Iowa polls, to lose. Branstad made his comments after addressing a room of alternative energy supporters at the Iowa Renewable Fuel Summit in Altoona. We'll talk more about that. But right now, put that music on, Maestro. It's time for the community calendar.
Wow, that was quite the intro, and I thank you for it. This is the community calendar here, sponsored by My Prepper Direct. It's better to be prepared than scared. MyPrepperDirect.com. Coming up, Winter Jam, the Christian music concert, is Friday. That's this Friday at Wells Fargo Arena. Details online at 2016.jamtour.com. Tickets are $10. That's 10 bands for $10. Check it out. The Adoption Support Group is happening this Sunday, January 24th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Walnut Creek Community Church. That's presented by Beauty Amidst the Ashes. BeautyAmidstTheAshes.com for details. And we're excited. Our fellow broadcaster here, Steve Dace, will be releasing his fourth book called A Nefarious Plot. But all of our Central Iowa 99.3 listeners have an opportunity to go to a pre-release party, so you can actually buy this book before you can buy it. That's the Nefarious Plot pre-release party this Saturday at Harvest Bible Chapel. That's from 1 to 3 p.m. And the word on the street is Raphael Cruz will be live and in person at that event as well. So go out and get an autographed copy book of that book. Again, Harvest Bible Chapel in Grimes is located in what was formerly the Gord's House. Also want to let you know of one other event real quick. The Believer and Civic Involvement Conference is coming up on Tuesday, January 26th. This will feature the keynote speaker, Dr. Russell Moore. He's the president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. This session is open to everyone Tuesday, January 26th. That's next Tuesday, a week from today, from 6:30 to 9 p.m. at First Family Church in Ankeny. And if you want to add your upcoming event, and I know some people have submitted some things. I apologize for not getting them on the list yet. But if you would like to submit your event, please call the station at 515-251-2663. That's 515-251-2663. Ron will answer the phone, and he'll take down all the pertinent information for your upcoming event. This was the community calendar on The Truth, 99.3 FM.
Frank, that's some of the worst music I've ever heard. Was that your junior high band with a bad tuba player?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I think Ryan picked that out.
Oh, and we'd play it when he's gone, so he knew you'd get yelled at.
Yeah.
That's right. That was horrible.
That was
music.
distracting. I thought something was wrong.
Maybe, Mac, you and I should just kind of hum a tune.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Battle Hymn of the Republic.
For announcements, I don't know.
All right. The Service Legends Truth text line is working. 809-0993. From your text, please, not while you're driving. You can text a message to us. It is your voice we want to hear. 515. Now this is the studio line. 515-244-0077. And we would be more than happy to have your voice in our conversation today. Again, we are just about an hour away. Well, less than an hour away now. 52 minutes and counting. Until Senator Steve King, or Congressman Steve King, excuse me, comes into our studio with Tom Coates, and we discuss a little bit of politicking. And he's not going to like the big story today.
No, he's not.
As you probably know, Congressman King has come out and endorsed Ted Cruz. Today at the Renewable Fuel Summit in Altoona, Governor Branstad said, and I quote, "I think it would be very damaging to our state," Iowa governor said of Cruz's victory on caucus night. All right, so we'll talk about that more when Congressman King gets here. All right, so you played a cut a minute ago from Marco Rubio taking a question from an atheist, and Marco Rubio came back and said, well, he was great. He didn't criticize him. He said fine, and then he told him why he would want a man of faith in the White House.
Yeah, I thought there were two great things about that response, which is well, here they are. Two things I thought were great. Not only was he respectful and kind to this atheist who did take a lot of courage to stand up in a room where he was most likely the minority, to stand up and say that, and the atheist was kind and respectful and asked a very good question. But he did two things that I thought were very cool. He gave what was a very clear gospel presentation. That Christ came, that Christ died for our sins, and because of Christ's death on the cross, our sins can be removed from us, and we can be forgiven and have a right relationship with God. That was very clear and very well done, and I think that's a very brave thing on Marco Rubio's part, and I pray that the Spirit would use that to reach the young man who asked the question, which was, I thought, very cool, that he didn't just say, oh, my Christianity is my personal faith, and you can do your atheist thing, and that's all fine and good. And then he went on later to, just like you said, Mac, explain why it's important, should be important to an atheist, to a non-believer, that the person running for the president of the United States would be a Christian. He said because his faith teaches him to love and to serve others, to care for those who are less fortunate, to care for those who are in need. I thought that was quite profound because really, and he said, without faith, without our rights coming from God, where do our rights come from? Where does liberty come from? Where does our respect for one another come from? I thought he made a good presentation there as well that would be encouraging to someone who doesn't share his values to consider that maybe it's a good thing that someone who has that faith would be in the White House, that they would actually care for the citizens of the country.
I'd be curious to have a Democrat come back and respond to that comment, because if I'm forget Democrat, if I'm his opposer, I'm going to say that faith is not necessary to care for your fellow man, that I'm a good moral person whether I have God or not. And the truth of the matter is, no, you're not. I'm sorry. You don't swing the pendulum all the way over to the other side. Please don't do that. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that if you don't have God in your life, you are the feces of the earth. But what I am telling you, that a personal relationship with Jesus Christ and living with the Holy Spirit inside you, it doesn't remind you of being a moral person. You just are in many ways.
Mac, when it rains on the earth, the rain doesn't discriminate who it falls on. Just as the Holy Spirit, when the Holy Spirit rains on this earth, it doesn't discriminate who it falls on. So it falls on the infidel as well as the Christian who accepts the Spirit inside of him and dwells inside of him. So they're getting the benefit of the Spirit whether they like it, know it, or not.
Thank you, Pastor Frank.
Well, but I do want to echo one of the things that you said there, though.
You're going to echo something I said or he said?
Mac, what you said.
Oh, okay. That'd be a first if he echoed something Frank said.
I think what you pointed out, though, too, is that Marco admitted that he needed his sins removed. I think one of the things that our Christian faith teaches us is an understanding of justice, and that we all deserve justice, and the justice that I deserve is punishment, because I'm a sinful person and I deserve to be punished, but that someone paid the penalty for my sin on my behalf causes me to serve and to think in a different way. I am freed up to serve and to love other people. And yeah, you can say I can be a good person and love my neighbor without faith, but I think you would be hard-pressed to actually understand what serving someone else is. Because why the heck would you? At the end of the day, why would you do that just because you're a good person? As a Christian, I'm called to, commanded to, led by the Holy Spirit to do so, and yet I still fall short of that empowering and that calling and that guiding. What What a bold claim to say that I can be good and righteous all on my own, because the reality is that human beings fail all the time.
Yeah, and you can't be.
It takes a strong man to admit that they're wrong and they need the help of someone else. It takes real strength to do that.
Yeah, and that's why we have people on the campaign trail that can't admit that they're wrong.
Yeah, we have that. We do. We do, in fact, have that.
Oh, shoot. Where did that go? I just was going to read you something. Oh, nuts. I hate it when Facebook does that. Hold on. I want to find you something. All right. This is the opinion of somebody on Facebook. It's not important who it is. I'm just not going to give you the name because it's not important. But talk about a bold statement. Cruz is done. The fraudulent golden boy messiah, created in a scam by syndicated GOP radio stars, is going down in flames. That would not refer to those of us on the radio today in this studio. He could not promote himself without people taking a closer look. The problem is, a close look reveals the fact that he is an empty suit and a constitutional fraud. Today, the Iowa governor came out against him. This is unprecedented. Meanwhile, supposedly, I put the supposedly in, okay? Meanwhile, supposedly, Sarah Palin is showing up to be in full support of Trump's stage act and lies only get you so far, and they will not get Rafael Cruz out of Iowa. He is finished. Now, meanwhile, Sarah Palin is showing up to be in full support of Trump. Oh, I see. Okay, I read that wrong. Meanwhile, Sarah Palin supposedly is showing up to be in full support of Donald Trump. Cruz's stage act and lies only get you so far, and they will not get Rafael Cruz out of Iowa. He is finished. Man, I've been a political junkie all my life. I mean, I can remember sitting on my grandmother's lap listening to I Had a Dream speech. I can remember having my mother sitting in our house crying as the report that JFK had been assassinated. I remember the Nixon landslide. I remember that how McGovern failed. I've just always been there. And what's kind of odd is my mom and dad are not politically active.
Yeah.
Not at all, my father probably never would have taken a side because he was a businessman and he was not going to alienate somebody from doing business with us. But for some reason, I was always drawn to that. Maybe it's because one of my heroes of all time was Walter Cronkite, and I got to meet him once. And he would have never put up with the type of malarkey that we're seeing now. But, folks, I got to tell you, welcome to the Barnum and Bailey three-ring GOP Democratic Caucus Iowa 2016 circus.
Yep.
And we have a front row seat. So today you've got Sarah Palin coming out for Trump. And
Possibly. That's the rumor. It hasn't happened yet officially.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I'm just for what it's worth. You've got Ben Carson off the campaign trail for now because some staffers were in a van and it flipped, and so he canceled all of his campaign things. You've got the governor, the longest-standing governor in the state of Iowa. No, I'm sorry, in the country.
Yeah.
Coming out and saying, I don't care who you vote for, anybody but Cruz. That's unprecedented. I mean, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
We are 2 weeks from today from the caucuses.
Right. I mean, we're talking about, it's one thing to endorse or not endorse. It's another thing to what do you call that? Unendorse, anti-endorse?
Buddy, I don't know. All right, now it's your voice we want to hear in this. In the Service Legends Truth Talks text line, Truth Talk text line, Peter Piper, Pickle Peppers, 809-0993. What do you think? Should the governor have pushed Cruz out of the way like that? I mean, that's huge. That's as bad as Linus taking the ball away from Charlie Brown when he's trying to kick it. Or Lucy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
We're coming back live here on The Truth. Who was
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on.
22 minutes before 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, Salem Radio Network News. And then in the 4 o'clock hour, Congressman Steve King live in the studio with Tom Coates. I can't wait to see what he says about this. I mean, Branstad on this move is dividing Republicans.
Right.
Gutsy move. And yeah. I really doubt whether we're going to have Governor Branstad on the 6 o'clock news with Aaron Kiernan saying, you know, it's not really what I meant. Because that's not Branstad's style. I know you don't know Branstad, but that's not his style. When he says it, he means it. I don't remember him ever backpedaling. Now, he's not as bold as Donald Trump says, I'm not going to forgive anybody. I'm not going to say I'm sorry. I'm always right. It's not like that. I just think Governor Branstad has the filters that it takes that when something like this falls out of his mouth, it didn't fall. It was carefully crafted.
Yeah. So you think, I mean, just to anti-endorse or unendorse Ted Cruz in a sense.
No, it's not unendorse even. Because unendorsed would be, I was for him, and now I'm not for him.
Right.
He's basically saying, you elect anybody on the R side except Ted Cruz.
Wow.
Now, I could hear him say, you know, I don't care who you elect on the Democratic side, anybody but Hillary Clinton. Now, that would make sense. But first of all, he's the front runner right now.
Yeah, Cruz is, yeah.
2 weeks out.
Right. What's he going to do if Cruz gets? What if Cruz wins the caucus here in Iowa?
Yeah, that's
is the governor going to be just? What is he going to do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he won't support him. You got to remember that Terry Branstad is in a very unique position. He's not going to run again. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
He has a legacy, and kind of like Obama's doing right now in Capitol Hill in Washington, he's going to do some things that usually would cost him some political capital, but he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's a bold governor. And I don't always agree with Governor Branstad. Don't get me wrong. I am a personal fan of his. As I've stated before, when Terry was just an accountant in Lake Mills, and then maybe he was on the city council in Lake Mills, but nothing like governor or anything. He did my mother and father-in-law's taxes because they were pastors for years. And so I've always had this personal connection to him also. So I am biased. I'm very biased. Do I think he made a mistake doing this? He didn't make a mistake, but I'm gonna watch.
Well, here's the question I've got, Mac, and forgive me for being busy and not getting this on the news somewhere here, but it's what has gotten Governor Branstad so upset that he's saying anybody but Ted Cruz? Why would Terry Branstad be that upset?
Ted Cruz has taken a lot of money from oil interest. I mean, he's from Texas, right?
Yeah, we got oil down there.
What do we have in Iowa that we don't like oil?
Oh.
We have renewable fuels.
Sure.
We have ethanol.
Yep.
We have wind power.
Right.
I mean, we are a state that has stepped out and said, I do not want to be dependent on fossil fuels. And beyond that, I'm sure there's some other political stuff that goes on. I mean, this is Branstad's turf. I mean, you don't walk in the neighbor's backyard and spit on the grass.
Oh.
Not unless you want to fight.
Yeah.
All right, I want to go to the phone where my good friend, Secretary of State Brad Sand is here. We call him Army Brad. Now, Army Brad, are you against Cruz?
Yes.
All right, and is it beyond just the fact that he's not eligible to be president?
The more I learn about Cruz, the more I have reservations about Cruz.
All right, now.
Branstad coming out against only him of all the candidates, and then you hear that George Bush, who Cruz worked on his staff and helped him get elected, and the only person, George W. Bush will not say anything bad about anybody, but he says that he does not like Cruz, and that I want to. There's something deep that the people that know him closely don't like him. And the more I look at him, the more I don't like him.
All right. Now, you not only served our country faithfully for over 20 years, and I thank you for doing that. You were you retired from the service, and you're a good Christian man. I've known you for I don't know how many years, 10, 12 years. We've been in Bible studies together. You know the Constitution.
Yes.
Tell me why, besides your disdain for Cruz, tell me why in your eyes he's not eligible.
Natural-born citizen, and I keep telling people this, it's not about citizenship. The lawyers that are supporting him that kind of even got the citizenship part of it out there in front of it, citizenship is not the issue. It's being natural-born. The founders realized from the British before them that bad things happen when you have a president who is not native to the country. I don't want to take it off subject with the current president and other people that the issue has come up, but Cruz was born in Canada, a subject of the Queen, because Canada was part of the Commonwealth at that time. That automatically makes him natural born in Canada. Yes, he could have dual citizenship through his mother because his mother was natural born in the United States, but that he was not born in the United States. His formative years, like his first 4 years, he was in Canada, raised as a Canadian. That tempers something different than if you're born in Iowa or the Panama Canal Zone territory of the United States. You are an American from birth. Not a citizen, but you are born and formed here in the United States. Your thought processes begin to be formed at a very young age, 90% or whatever. I'm not an expert on how fast a child develops, but the very start is here in the United States. And the British, before our country was even founded, realized that you have problems that arise if you're not born and raised and subject to our law and authority from birth.
All right, the studio line that you can talk to us on, just like Brad's talking now, is 515-244-0077. The Service Legends Truth text line is 809-0993, and either way you can communicate with us. Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat watching the chat, is monitoring that text line, and anything you say will be put on the air, if that's okay. I mean,
not anything.
Not anything? Is there some stuff on there we wouldn't want to say on the radio?
Yeah.
Vulgarity or just...
No.
Well, like what? Well, I guess that's a dumb question. Well, if it's not vulgar, though, why not? Okay, Bob's the smartest guy in the room, so I'm going to let him decide that that's not going to say. I'll look at it when we're in the break. So now, okay, Brad, help me understand. Wouldn't somebody have to raise a proper filed document in a court of law to say that he's not eligible?
No, the Constitution says it clearly that he's not eligible. He's not natural born. He was born in Canada. That's not even in dispute.
All right, well, I think we're blessed to have Congressman Steve King here in about a half hour, and he has endorsed Mr. Cruz.
Yeah.
And I can't think of a better guy to have on the radio today, because I don't know, kind of like Branstad, Steve King's just, I'm akin to him. I mean, I know the man's not going to come in here and lie. I mean, he gets in trouble sometimes because he says stuff because he refuses to be PC about it.
Right.
So I think we're really blessed to have him coming in this afternoon, and we will be able to hear some truth. Brad, thanks for calling in. You can call in anytime, 515-244-0077. It's your voice we want to hear on the truth.
Well, I just think it's interesting, the birther thing, because we did go through that with Obama, and he served 2 terms. So I'm not sure I understand how this is any different, and we have a president that is in the same situation.
Because Barack Obama produced a copy of a birth certificate that says he was born in Hawaii. And he might very well have been born in Hawaii. The real challenge with Barack Obama is his college transcripts that he refuses to release. Because it's been said that he received government grants as a quote-unquote foreign student. In his first book, the foreword said that he was born in, where did they think he was born in?
Was that Kenya?
Kenya, yeah. So it seems like he's just shooked and jived, whatever made him work. Oh, I can get foreign money. Okay, I'm not born here. Oh, I'm going to be president. I was born here.
I'm going to ask a dumb thing. I'm not sure why being born in Canada is all that big a deal.
All right, well, you're going to have Congressman King in front of you defending that here in just a little bit. We're coming back live here on The Truth. Boy, this is a good day.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
Thousands. All right, 10 minutes before the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News. We have breaking news. Sarah Palin has endorsed Donald Trump, rallying the Tea Party conservatives, saying that she wanted to make sure that all of her fellow Tea Partiers knew that Donald Trump was, quote unquote, a real Tea Party advocate, unquote. Are you... Folks, you're in the kitchen watching how the sausage is made right now. Very, very, very blessed position. Now, Jill King is out there listening going, I hate politics. I don't want to see anybody else. I just want to sell books and love Jesus. And I don't blame her. She's got the right attitude. But the bottom line is, it is here. You'll never know the millions and millions and millions of dollars that come into Des Moines, Iowa, and the rest of the state every 4 years when the caucuses are here. I don't think we can measure how much money goes to our schools or goes to our roads or goes just to people working. I mean, just, people working. We get used to needing that money if you're a waitress or a waiter or something like that. And radio stations, television stations, newspapers. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Hey, we're not gonna bat an eye. I had a listener send us a message. Why are you running Ted Cruz Why are you running Ted Cruz ads? And I said, well, if I'm going to run ads for anybody, I got to run them from all. But yeah, it helps broadcasters, media outlets. There's a lot of money. Hotels,
restaurants, rental cars, airplanes.
It's a big deal.
Yes, Frank.
And that's why there's certain people in the state who's very sensitive to our first-in-the-nation status. They think we're kind of bozos here because we, in the Republican side, haven't seemed to pick someone who makes it to the nomination. So that's why we're kind of hypersensitive in the state that we need to get it right.
Yeah, and I don't remember the last time we had it right. Jimmy Carter won in 76. He was really the first caucuser candidate to caucus. Yeah. And what does that mean? It means that he went door to door and did retail politics. Then we had the guy that ran the 700 Club.
Pat Robertson. We had Mike Huckabee. We had Rick Santorum. Mitt Romney first and then Santorum.
I think we picked Reagan, though.
Not sure.
I'll bet you we did because he was at WHO.
Yeah, sure. That would make
I'll
sense.
bet you anything that Reagan took Iowa.
Well, this is just crazy though. This is an official endorsement now from Sarah Palin. That was the rumor pretty much all today. If you're following that kind of stuff, that the rumor was Sarah Palin was going to do it. It's official that she will. I guess she hasn't actually said it, but she will. I don't know how the endorsements work, but it's official that she will, and that's incredible. And I'm excited that we have Congressman Steve King here because he is a Cruz. He has publicly endorsed Ted Cruz, and those two are the big front runners. And I'm curious what this means for the Tea Party type folks that like Ted Cruz. I mean, does that mean nothing? Is she just a joke now, or what?
Craig Robinson from the Iowa Republican, and he's on our radio station with us at least once a month, is quoted as saying this, quote, over the years, Palin has actually cultivated a number of relationships in Iowa. There are the Tea Party activists who still think she's great and a breath of fresh air, but she also did a good job of courting Republican donors in the state. Other conservatives have said Mrs. Palin serves a particularly effective shield against Senator Ted Cruz, who is battling Trump for the lead in Iowa polls. Palin's brand among evangelicals is as gold as the faucets in Trump Tower, says Ralph Reed, the chairman of the Faith and Freedom Coalition. Endorsements alone don't guarantee victory, but Palin's embrace of Trump may turn the fight over the evangelical vote into a war for the soul of the party. We are so blessed to have Congressman King in this afternoon.
Oh, we absolutely are.
And if you want to talk to him, you'll be able to talk to him. He'll be in studio here in about 20 minutes. We could stack the phone lines if you want to just get put on hold. 515-244-0077. You can also text your thoughts to the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993. So there are a couple of ways that you can have your opinions known.
Hey, Mac.
Yeah.
We got a caller. He didn't want to come on air, but he wanted to have, I told him maybe wait on Steve King next hour, but he wants to know how to actually caucus and, what you do and how you go to your caucus center, how you find it, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So we might need to touch on that a little bit next hour.
Yeah, you would just, thank heavens for the Google and say, where do I caucus? That's probably, I haven't tried this, but my guess is that would work. Where do I caucus? And it'll come in and it'll ask you your address or your zip code or whatever it is. Probably not zip code. Probably have to be an address. And then you'll go there. And what a caucus is you'll go and you will listen to 3 or 4 minute stump speeches by representatives. It can't be a candidate. By representatives of the candidate. They'll tell you why you should vote for them. Sometimes that gets a little rowdy because hecklers are allowed. Now, you can't be a Democrat and be in a Republican caucus and vice versa. So if it's heckling from one opponent on the Republican side to the other. Eventually, everybody talks. They literally hand out little white pieces of paper. You write who you want. It goes in the collection basket around the room. They then count them up, and they're turned into the national poll, or they're turned into a statewide caucus reporting room, whatever you should call it. And then at some time around 10 o'clock at night, they'll say who won the caucuses. Now, remember, 4 years ago or 8 years ago, let's just say, I think it was 4 years ago, Romney won, and somebody in Appaloosa County, instead of writing down 2 votes for Mitt Romney, they wrote 22. And Romney only won by 18 votes. When they went back and counted them again, Santorum won the Iowa caucuses. That was very embarrassing for the state. On a nation, we had to come back 5 or 6 days later and say, oops, a guy in Appaloosa County counted wrong.
Well, then do you remember that the votes were somewhere out on the interstate? Coming from north, they were on 35, and they had to wait until they actually got the physical votes in their hand because they were somewhere in between Fort Dodge and, Des Moines, wherever they were going to. They were trapped in the middle of the interstate, and the guy was rushing to get them here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just because we don't have, their paper ballots.
They're paper ballots. That's right. There are no hanging chads in Des Moines, Iowa. All right, we're going to break for what is sure to be a packed Salem Radio Network news at the top of the hour. I hope they know all we know. They should. That Sarah Palin has said Trump's the guy. And the governor of Iowa, Terry Branstad, the longest-running governor in the history of all governors, ever, has said anybody but Cruz. Holy Toledo. Welcome to the circus. It's called the Iowa Caucuses. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job, especially right now. And I couldn't do it without you, right here on The Truth. 99.3.